Welcome, family and friends. For the Family Movie Reviews is a YouTube channel dedicated for reviewing all the latest movies and your requested movie reviews focused on grading and disclosing the content and how appropriate it is for children. Let us know your thoughts and your movie requests to review. Please like and subscribe. We are a Christian and family-focused group and want to simply provide full disclosure and transparency around movies and what type of content is in the movies for you to make a wise decision. This is something the MPAA movie ratings do not do well, so that is why we are here. We started out because we noticed MPAA movie ratings and all movie reviews available do not serve this purpose and don't provide that detail. We don't judge or condemn any material. We simply present movie reviews based on language, sexual content, and violence and other topics so you can determine if the movie content is appropriate or explicit to watch for yourself, your family and children, and loved ones. We are not affiliated with anyone. We are not owned by anyone. We are completely independent, here to serve you. So please donate and support us if you can, and definitely tell your family and friends about us to spread the word. Movie reviews will cover these categories: quick overview of the movie without spoilers or giving anything away. Then we'll cover quickly sexual topics, then language topics, then violence topics, then substance topics, give an overall rating to how explicit the content is, 1 to 10, and then tell you quickly the Rotten Tomatoes score for the overall quality of the movie. So stick around to the end to hear the overall rating. The Woman King is what we'll be talking about today. Woman King came out earlier this year, 2022. It's a historical film about the Agojie tribe, which is an all-female Amazonian-like warrior tribe in West Africa in a kingdom called Dahomey that existed in the 17th, 19th century. Set kind of in the 1800s. Viola Davis is the big star, the big producer, and she trains volunteers and captives to fight their enemies as the all-woman Amazonian. So this first premiered in the Toronto International Film Festival in September, and then was released nationally in the US September 16th, again this year, 2022. So let's go into the content. It was rated PG-13 for sequences of strong violence, some disturbing material, thematic content, brief language, and partial nudity. Violence is the focus for this movie. Sexual content and nudity. We see a woman wrapped in a sheet, exposing part of her body, obviously not her whole body. And then a guy returns to the room shirtless, and it's kind of implied they're getting ready for sex. And then they touch each other and they're sitting close, and then the scene changes. And then there's a woman that looks afraid when she looks at a guy who removes his clothes, and she has a flashback of a previous life event, a previous rape, sexual assault that she experienced with a man. Kind of PG-13 level revealing, right, in the flashback. Like, you can see she's being sexually assaulted, but nothing private's being shown. And then she fights him and fights back. So those are flashbacks that we see earlier in our life that affects her in the movie. And then women are described as virgin soldiers. A woman says, "Love makes you weak," talking about, a husband and a wife fighting each other and the conflict there. And then last on the sex scene, and this is probably one of the larger pieces of this segment, is there's a man, one of the main characters, comes out of the water, kind of like a waterfall lagoon area, and he's clearly bathing. Comes out of the water fully nude, and we see the upper half, and then we see his butt cheeks, and the camera pans away. So we see his hips, his butt cheeks, full nude, head to toe, but we don't see the front. And then other shirtless men, and there's a woman who walks up to him in the scene, kind of by accident. And then there's women with small tops revealing. Very solid PG-13 level there for sex. And then violence. Obviously, this is an action movie, action drama type movie, so violence is going to be an aspect. There's fighting, killing all throughout the movie. Not heavy on the blood and gore, and no dismemberment. They actually could have gone a lot more graphic with the violence, but it's kind of they lean more mild on the violence. For example, there's hitting and stabbing and killing, but they could have been a lot more graphic with the stabbing and the blood and the gore that you would see from a lot of R-rated movies. So lots of women fighting, slashing, cutting through through wrists and torsos and side slashing arms, things like that. Preparing for battle, flames, fighting, a lot of training scenes, a lot of fighting with horse to ground, horseback fights, horses involved with the violence. Yeah, a lot of, cities being burned, guys come through with the horses and burn down the houses, things like that. There's children involved too in the fight scenes, fleeing the village type of thing. A woman carries her baby and they're scared. So that's the violence section. It's pretty solid on the violence at the PG-13 level, but again, could have been a lot more graphic than they were. As far as language, not too harsh here on the language. There's some mild obscenities, words like dumb, silly, sloth, an old woman, arrogant, things like that. One religious exclamation, God bless you, but no religious profanities. And then as far as substance, there's a woman drinking whiskey from a flask, and she gives a young woman a sip. But there's no illegal drugs, there's no substances to be concerned here. So the topics really are, fear, honor, respect, bravery, and talking about the American slave trade. I was actually thinking before I saw the movie that it would be very much white Europeans shown in a bad light and very much a pro-African film, which isn't a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying that's kind of what I was expecting going into the movie. But it actually wasn't so much of that. There was no pro or for agenda for either race. It was trying to just show a historical element and a pro-female, pro-feminism type of tone to the movie. You can definitely tell Viola Davis wanted that. That was her signature to the movie, is, the pro-female, pro-feminism type of element to the movie. The slave traders and holders were European and Portuguese, from Portugal and Brazil. And one of the main characters was, they described in the movie, half black and half white and Portuguese. So yeah, there isn't, if you're concerned about a race agenda, which I actually thought going into the movie that would be part of it, but it actually wasn't so much there. So if you're worried about the race agenda, it's not there. If anything, it's a gender focused movie. Again, I'm not saying that's bad or good, I'm just saying something to be aware of. But it isn't overly focused on either. It's focused on, the women and their character development and being bravery and working together as the all-female army. So overall, good film. Let's go over the Rotten Tomatoes score, and then we'll give it a final for the family final verdict on the explicit content, if it's appropriate for your children. So it was rated extremely well by Rotten Tomatoes. The critics scored it at 95%, which is basically 100% for the Rotten Tomatoes critics. The audience score, over 5,000 verified ratings, rated at 99%. So this movie was rated extremely well. I am sure it's going to win awards from, the Oscars. So very good movie. I enjoyed it personally. And a final score, out of all this content, the violence that we'd see it focus on for the PG-13, for the guy showing up and we see him head to toe nude from the back, coming out of the bathing from the lagoon. I would rate this a 6 out of 10. This is a strong 6 out of 10. So it's a very solid PG-13 movie. There's some worse PG-13 movies, but there's also a lot more mild PG-13 movies than this too. So this is a very strong PG-13 movie. So younger children may not be appropriate for this movie, but older teens into adults, it should be fine. But my opinions don't matter, yours do. So let me know in the comments what you think. So that's all. Please like and subscribe to support us, and tell all your friends. God bless you and your family.